Morning. Welcome to part two of how to use your family to build wealth. Last week we spoke about the difference between a company and a business, and we said these are two different things. If you are shocked as you watch this, go back to part one because I won't get into details because of time. But today I want to speak on the topic on how now practically do you build a company. Remember, we said it is important to have a company first before you run a business. But if you start running a business and you don't have a company, you are likely to fail. And we said company is a group of people. It is not an entity that you run. You don't run a company. You have a meeting with the company, but you run the business. Okay, today let's get down to business. How do you practically now build a company, since a company is a group of people? Thank you. Let's start just by saying other racial groups understand the difference between a company and a business. That's why most of them are successful. Most of our friends who are black like me, we don't understand. It's not in our vocab, in our culture, to actually speak about the difference between the company and the business. So that's why in most cases we fail in business. So I just want to state the following things. One of the toughest racial group that is facing incredible poverty is black race in the world. And don't get me wrong, there are black people, a few black people who are actually far richer than white people or Asians. But on average, the majority is us black people. Even as born again people, sometimes we struggle with poverty. There is almost no difference between born again people and unsaved people, because we don't understand really we don't understand the depth of what is salvation, what is the kingdom of God, how God intended us to live. And other racial groups still face poverty, but they seem to be overpowering a lot of obstacles because they understand the value of family. Whether you're talking about Italians, whether you're talking about Greeks, and these people seem to understand. Whether you talk about Chinese or Japanese, these people have deep norms and values in understanding the value of family. As black people, we don't like family. We accuse one another that if I'm successful, they're going to bewitch me. I don't think they like me. I don't like them. We don't really value family. Other racial groups do. And so that is why it's easy for them to build. And I just want us now to see how other racial groups prosper, whether they are born again or not, but particularly as born again people. How can we prosper? By understanding the value of family and use family to build wealth. Number one, practical thing that you need to do to build company. In other words, a group of people to fund your business. This is what you do. You got to do what we call consolidating your family structure. That's a huge responsibility than most people realize. Consolidate your family structure, and using these 16 or 17 governing ideas. And how do you do that? You first of all identify and count the number of people, dependable people in your family or the extended family. You've got access to these people. They know you, you know them. And I know people who are lazy, they've already started, forget it. All people in my family are broke. This doesn't relate to me, I'm black. Just hang on a sec, because I grew up in a village where most of my relatives were farmers and they were depending on social grants. They had no money and they were not millionaires. And I was able to actually get to varsity and have a lot of those people helping, because I had a strategy that I had learned from other racial groups, instead of undermining them and thinking that they are broke. So if you're interested, let's just look at this. So you identify the number of people that you already know who are your relatives. This is what I found out. I thought my family was poor because I knew mom and dad, and I only had 2 older brothers and 2 older sisters, and it was me and my little brother. So because we're struggling, we're poor, I thought this is it. But when I started learning and understanding the significance of family and why other groups prosper, why Jews, not just only during the Bible time, but even today, still prosper because they value family, they understand the value of family, I started realizing, wow, there is treasure in family. So I had my dad who was providing for us, didn't have enough, and I was earning pension, and I had mom who was unemployed and who was working to bake bricks and as a domestic worker sometimes, and when she's done doing that, she's making bricks and selling them to people. And I had my brother who was working in the mine, not earning much. The other brother was working in the coal factory producing charcoal. So it wasn't really a good picture. And my sister was a secretary at a driving school, and my other sister was unemployed, and they were having kids. I mean, it was your typical broke black family. But what I decided to realize is whenever we're having weddings or funerals, there is such an amazing unity of many people that are hovering around, and we're told, hey, this is your dad's sister, she's married there. And all of a sudden, I started realizing how my mom has brothers who love her. If there is a funeral or something at home, these people are giving money. And why should we wait until there are funerals to support one another as black people? So I realized we do not value love. So I started doing what other racial groups are doing, and I was amazed how much resources is in black poor community, in the shacks, in the villages. This is the reason why Pakistanis and Chinese come into our broke communities where we hate one another, and they are making millions. So let me make an example. So I started realizing that my mom has a huge number of brothers and other brothers who know her. If anything happens and any of the people pass away or there is a wedding, they are all around here to bring gifts. And I started realizing, wow, my dad has also aunts, and these people, he has also brothers, many of them, and they've got kids. Some of these kids are now teachers, some of them are lawyers, some of them are human resource specialists in different departments, in companies, in Swaziland. And so when you identify people in your family, think bigger than the people that are in your house. So start identifying successful people that you know who are your relatives, and then start finding out, building friendships with them. So you build friendship with those people, you identify who are they. For me, I realized we have over 110 relatives, if you realize, and their spouses and their children. And I started realizing, look, I'm just only going to concentrate on 60 or 80, because there is so much, there are so many of them. And then you start identifying, these are the people I want to build friendships with, so that when I start to launch a product or a company, they can support me, or they can give something a little. So do that. And then you will, for an example, after identifying, I found that there were just 60 people that I could identify. Visited, loved those people, built a great friendship. By the time when I wanted to go to University of Cape Town, I wanted an amount of about 8,000. So I went to those people and say, hey, I'm going to University of Cape Town. I need this amount, but I would love to help. So I broke it down and I divided it by the number of those people, and I found out just 250 per person. So when I went around and saying, hey, I'm going to varsity, I need help, auntie, cousin, and so forth. And everybody was able to actually give me 250. Actually, others were even happy to give me more than 250. Others 300, others 500, but on average 250. And I found myself having 14,500 equivalent amount instead of 8,000. So I was able to do more than what I wanted. That was back in the 1990s. I mean, 8,000 was a big deal back then. And so building the company is actually very important. So this practical step, you identify the number of those people, and then what you do is implement a shepherding strategy. Shepherding strategy meaning, how am I going to love and care for these people so that we can actually build long-lasting friendships? So, practice your love. Call these people, love them. Do not expect people to love you just because you're a relative or to know you. They don't have to. It's a wedding, it's a funeral. They're here to help your mom. And you might actually lose those people and never know them again if you don't build a friendship. But if you do build, the friendship lasts. So identify, love them, take their numbers and start SMSing them and WhatsApping them and tell them it was good to see them. Build intentional relationships with family. Do not expect people to love you just because they are family. They don't owe you nothing. You are the one who wants to start a company or to sell a particular product and build a business empire. So intentionally build. And also I found that my brothers have got other people they are working with at Sasol. Some of these people, when you just tell them, you've got a nice car, can I wash your car? Man, you become a great friend. They take you to their girlfriends. So you just have to be nice. And people will remember you, and you build. So you build a shepherding strategy. I'm going to visit them. I'm going to love them. I'm going to compliment them. We're gonna be buddies. I am building a company. They are not building you. You are the one who's building a friendship. So visit them. That's another strategy. The next strategy, identify their passions. A lot of people become great friends with us who are relative because we find out what they love. If you're just only interested in yourself, you don't find out what people like, you won't be able to be a good friend. Find out with their passion, identify their passions and their concerns. Some of them are old, their kids are no longer visiting them. You sit down, you chill, you listen to them. Listen, some of them love to talk about their careers, what they do at work, why they are great. And you give them compliments and serve them, And that's another strategy. Do chores with them. When you find them washing dishes, cleaning, or doing gardening, do that. When you find them washing a car, just do what they are doing. Visit them, especially when the schools are closed, varsities closed, or schools are closed. You use those 3 weeks to go and divide them. I'm going to visit my relatives in Swaziland. I'm going to visit these ones in Durban. I'm going to visit. Be intentional. And quite often you'll get the money for traveling from them, if you're a good communicator and you are good in loving them. And another thing, pray for them when you are alone. And the next strategy, pray with them over the concerns. Even if the things are going well, as I've just gotten a promotion, after they've told you their testimony, sit down and say, thank God, and just pray for them. Say, Father, expand them. When people see how much you love them, they will respect you and they will value you. And you are building a strong company in return. And somebody might think, why should I do that? That sounds like scheming people. That's a very socialistic mindset. You think you must go and charm other people outside your family instead of loving people in your family who will actually support you and not even want anything in return. So choose to love them. Because even in the world, you still need to charm the government officials. You still need it. So why not start at home like other racial groups and be more successful? And relatives are even more willing to give you money to visit. So call them, text them, inspire them, send them nice scriptures, love people. And then the next strategy, number 10, celebrate their victories. When they tell you their stories, what's happening at work and so on. Celebrate, wow, praise God, man. And encourage them to do a braai. Be there to celebrate with them. Don't just go, oh, wow, that's nice. No, celebrate. Love them. And people will realize your prayers and your love go with them, and they want to see you succeed in return. And then during celebration, they bring their friends as well during that braai or whatever, and then celebrate and recruit new friends, take more contacts to expand your company. And then after that, grow your company through follow-ups. When you meet new friends from the birthday party or celebration or a braai, go and visit those friends. It was good to see you at my cousin's wedding, at my cousin's celebration, graduation. Hey, man, it was really nice. So don't just take contacts and think people will remember you. You are the one who's intentionally wanting to build. And so the next point, 13, invite them together to your celebration. If you're having a birthday party or something is happening that's good, invite them. Some of them may not show up, but the thought that you think about them when you're happy makes them happy too. You are shepherding, you are actually recording in their minds you are there. And then calculate the number the number you need to launch your business. In other words, start thinking, this is how much I need to start my business, and then you start dividing the amount with the number of your company that you've been building relationship with. You'll be amazed that you will actually need less amount per person. And when you've been loving people, people are very willing. When I said I'm going to varsity, because I had been loving them, writing them letters, and they were like, oh man, cousin, hey man. They were willing to give because I've been loving them since from grade 10. And now I'm done with grade 12. I'm telling them 3 months in advance in November. In February, I'm going to UCT. So they have more time to prepare to bless me. And so finally, launch your capital investment request in advance, maybe 3 months in advance. Hey, I'm gonna need that much. So let's just make an example now. And let's say you want to run a business empire of vans that are picking people in the villages to buy huge groceries. In the villages, people don't buy like in the city. They buy 80 kg millimeters, they buy like 10 kg. They buy huge because the numbers are huge there. And they don't have cars because they don't have money. And they put all these things in the taxi. And they've got groceries in their laps. So let's say you want now to have vans, and some of them are built in their homes in the mountains. They are not anywhere closer to the road. So let's say now you want to run an empire of vans that are picking mothers who are buying grocery for their families. Instead of using taxis, they use yours. So there is a lot of vans going on, but they really don't know how to do this thing in a very sophisticated way. Now, to buy one van, you need at least plus minus 300,000. You don't have 300,000. So what you do is you break now. Whenever you hear somebody say, I have a business idea, but I don't have money, they are not an entrepreneur. Real entrepreneurs do not complain about capital. They build people, and people give capital. So, say for an example, in my case, I had over 100 relatives through brothers, sisters, mom, father, aunts, and so forth, and their spouses, and so forth, and their kids, and so on, and their spouses of their kids. So there was a lot. So I decided, hey, I'll target between 60 to 80. So let's say now you decide, hey, let's go for it. I need to buy a van, but I don't have a license. I don't even have money, the capital. So what you do is, instead of trying to get the huge amount, start small. So you decide, let me go in my case, let me go to my 58 relatives. Hey guys, I am trying to get a driver's license so that I can get a job. You've built great friendship now, and they've known you've been visiting them during school holidays and so on. So now you come and you say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. I just need, 3,000 or 5,000 rand to do this, but I would like you to help me with maybe 250 like I did. So eventually, when you do this, and then I got 14,500. So I got more than what I needed for what I got more than what I needed, basically. So you take that money and you go and you buy a bicycle, and you turn that bicycle into a rickshaw. Now I know rickshaw are used in Dubai and Durban, in all these beautiful cities. You know, I actually was looking online, I saw this beautiful, and I've seen them in other cities as well, beautiful rickshaw, red and gold, and it looks like a chariot. So a rickshaw is a bicycle, basically. You don't need a license to drive it. It's got three wheels, one at the front, and then there are, in most cases, really huge wheels. And then it's easy to ride, no matter how heavy what you are carrying is, because it's got a huge power and huge wheels. So you take that. A rickshaw cost 4,000 rand, others 3,800. Other bicycles, you buy something less than that. But if it's for competition, obviously you buy 20,000 or more. But your normal, usual rickshaw, beautiful one, and you dye it your own color, and it looks like a beautiful chariot, and it's got nice covering things to give it a shade with zips and plastic transparent windows. It's beautiful, and you say, hey, I'm buying a rickshaw for 4,000, and I am gonna use it to pick up groceries for ladies in town. The opportunity is that all countries have got small towns. In South Africa, we've got 205 towns. And if you start in your small town and you say, hey, here it is, and I am just going to charge 10 rand. Because the advantage in small towns is that shops are scattered all over and the rank is there. So when they are picking things and rice 10 kg and all of that, a lot of ladies end up having their makeups messed up and their hairstyles. But now you say, hey, I'm going to use this rickshaw, this bicycle. I don't need a license. Now you charge. Say per day, you do only 80 trips. And say you charge 10 rand. 10 rand multiplied by 80, that is 800. And then you take that and you're saying 800, where is my calculator? You say 800, okay, 10 rand multiplied by 80 ladies, that's 800. Multiply that by 6 days of the week, because I'm going to church on Sunday, that's 4,000. Multiply this 4,000 by 4 weeks of the month, that's 19,000. Now I've got 19,000 from relatives who are my company and who are always willing to give, because I have built a beautiful company with them. And then all of a sudden now I've got a capital and I bought this thing for free without going to the bank or using a credit card or getting a job. And so I am taking this money and I am buying another rickshaw. How many rickshaws? Let's divide this by 4,000. 4,000. I'm buying 4 rickshaws. So maybe instead of buying 4, let's say I'm buying 2 rickshaws, and then I use the rest as my salary, and then I still have 9,000, and I'm using the other 10,000, 8,000. Basically you actually have 11,000, and the rest of the 8,000 you're buying. So you're reinvesting. Now you multiply that every month. Within the end of the year, you'll actually have more than 100 rickshaws. So, and now, in other words, this 19,000 will actually be multiplied by 100 rickshaws. Multiply that by 100 rickshaws. You will be, within a year, you will be actually making 1.9 million. You use the other 900,000 to pay salaries for your rickshaw drivers. Say you're paying 5,000 rand each boy who's still looking for a job, who wants to work for you, and then you've just made more money, and then you don't have to pay anybody back because the capital was for free from friends and families. Now you are making over 1 million. Now you can take that million. Now you can buy a bakkie, a van. You can buy 1 or 2 of them. Now you actually have capital to actually buy what you wanted. Now you can sell that, or you can just continue. By the way, if you continue with this and you're making this much, 1.9 million, if you multiply this by our 205 towns in South Africa, that is 393 million. That was free capital from family, from friends and family, and you don't have to pay anything. 393,600,000, obviously that's gross before you pay salaries, but that's still a lot of money. So I just want to encourage you, go for it. That's how you build. See you next time. Bye-bye.